Hello and welcome to Stir Crazy Art Classes number 67. I hope now to be able to get the painting finished off around here, be as quick as we can. Again, as I've always said, you're going to have more time than I have with this. I'm just trying to give you guidance of how to get this all done. We'll be doing number 68 at the same time today. As you might be aware, I can only get 15 minutes done at a time. And really it's not a lot of time for me to do this. If you ever go on my website and see some of my paintings, you'll understand that I tend to be rather more meticulous about detail. For me to be painting quite so quickly is unusual. Again, as you might be aware, I paint primarily in gouache paint, and should any of you be members of the SAA, the Society of All Artists, and have their monthly magazine, you might find, I think, in the next issue, there might actually be an article that I've done on gouache painting, which is obviously a bit different to this. It's not too bad, it hasn't got quite the same linear feel to it in some respects through here. But, see if I can get this little, so it dabs the colour through as well, just to give a feeling of the things working round. I say it's not brilliant, it's more difficult, but again, if you've got more time than I've got, so refer back to the photograph. I hope you've been enjoying doing these classes. I hope you found them entertaining at the very least. Just bring a little bit of hairy bits through here. Excuse me, I'm going to cough again. Right. Now then, we're going to have a little look at this bee. Right, we're going to start off with, if you want to look at the photograph of the bee, we've got sort of lighter yellows there and some down here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of lemon yellow to start off with. Just pop it in here. Almost like a bit of highlighting. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep doing this, I'm about to sneeze. Oh dear, must be the paint. Must be allergic to paint. And this is cadmium yellow pale. Not a great deal of difference to the lemon yellow, but just enough. And again down here, looking at the, we've got some yellow here. So I'll put some of the stronger yellow on this time first of all. So again, working with the lighter colours first. We're not going to get the same effect of the hairs that are on those, you know how hairy the bumblebees can be. I'll get back into the lighter lemon yellow. Again, just enough to make a difference against the other yellow. And again here, its tail. It's got some yellow on its tail around here as well. So we bring the colour around here. Wash the brush out, go with a stronger cadmium yellow under there. Right, and again here, the creature has got white on it, hasn't it? This part here. So we're going to leave that, but I can see there's a bit of yellow coming round here. So I'm just going to dab the colour on to give it a sort of hairy effect. In fact, I'll do the same here. We can pick up the hairy effect when we put the darker colouring on. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some burnt umber to start off with, because although it's quite dark, in fact what I'll do first, if I may change my mind a little bit here, I'm going to pick up a bit of burnt sienna, paint open, not a lot, and again paint and go quite a long way. So what I'm doing, I'm using this now, just thin down, and I'm just going to put it on as a shadow here, and again just a little bit of colour on the tip of the brush. That just brings a little bit of shadow, a bit of colouring in onto the yellow, and again round here we've got a slightly more noticeable, I think, sort of browny colouring around here. That sort of warm colouring you can get with the bees. Right, so now then, so now going back to the burnt umber to start off with, and again here we can put the colour on, a little bit more water with that. You'll have to excuse me for the moment, I'll just keep looking at that for the moment. Okay, right. Now again here, I'm taking my brush strokes around because the animal's this fluffiness is in sort of as it's leaning forward and having a good go at the pollen on the flower. And you notice at the moment I haven't put any colour onto the wings, so we'll sort that one out in a minute, because the wings are what with sort of whitish colour, well they're transparent basically, but they're reflecting the light. So again here I'm just bringing dabs of colour in here, again also around the bees lower back. Now although I've put this brown on first, I will actually be covering a lot of it over with the same colour that we used in the flower itself. So it's that sort of more or less blacky sort of colour. But again, I think going in with a lighter colour first, or either, although it is a dark colour, it's always going to be lighter than the almost black. Again, if you just gently tickle the edge there, it gives a sort of help to give a furry effect to the bees back. And yeah. Right, now then, I'm now going to add in some of the colour we've used here. So again, it's the same colours we used in this area here. Again, I'm using the tip of the brush. I'm just trying to give the effect of the hair. Again, when you see the photograph, you can actually see little hairs sticking up around there. And we can do that gently. But again, taking the brush strokes in a slightly curved manner, so it helps to give a feeling of the shape of the animal. And particularly this time of year, because we're in at the moment we're in obviously in early part of July. We're doing this at the moment. And you see the bees around the pollen, collecting the pollen from the flowers. Now I'm just adding a bit more colour in here, and again here I'm going to go stronger. Now I noticed that in fact there's a bit of almost a slightly lighter striping around the back of the animal here. So I'm leaving the brown. Again, just coming round there, just gives a little bit of feeling. Now I'm just going to try and get the brush I can, just to splay it out a little bit, so we can get a bit more effect of the fur. So So hopefully that looks fairly reasonably convincing, I hope. Watching the time again. Right, now then, we do have the problem now, as it were, of the wings. Now, right, I'm going to have to pick up some of the alizarin crimson colour that I was using before, and again, very, very thin. And here I'm going to paint the actual wings, because they're transparent, but they actually break up the colouring underneath, and you can almost see the strata of the makeup. And okay, what I'm going to do is I'll pick up some of the black, thin it right down, and just make sure it looks a bit thinner. We're nearly there. And I'm going to put a thin line of the sort of grey, dark grey colour around the edge, and also through into here as well. I can see a bit of reflected light in here. So that's sort of got that going. I'm going to look at the other one now. Now again here, it's just enough light to allow just thin enough to allow colour to come through from underneath. And again here we got the shaping showing up. You've got the very thin. Quite amazing when you start looking at these things. Again, I've always said from the very beginning, looking and looking and looking. And as you start looking at this, you can see the sort of veins almost, where it's the sort of folds of the makeup of the wing, and it's catching the shadows. So it's quite, it's amazing how this works. And I'm just going to put a bit of artistic license here. I'm going to have to stop in a minute or two, and then we'll come back and just finish off. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to again take a bit of license. So I'm going to put a bit more colour underneath the derriere of the bee. So we're nearly there. Now, okay, it's a bit gone rather cruder than I would have hoped there, but we'll come back to this. We're going to go straight on in a moment to. We're going to have a little break, and then we can get back and just finish things off. I'll just bring a bit more colour in. So what we'll do is we'll now again call this another session finished, and I hope there's enough information from this just to get it working. It's a little untidy, but if you look again at this one and look at the original photograph, you might have more time to do something about it. Okay, so if we just say goodbye for now, and we'll see you in the next lesson.